You are walking down the street, hands full. Picture yourself walking outside with your arms loaded. Coffee in one, bag in the other, phone balanced on your fingers. You hold a coffee in one hand, a bag in the other, and your phone is perched on your fingertips. You're feeling like a pro, like you've mastered multitasking. You feel super skilled, as if you can handle many things at once. Then your shoelace betrays you. Your foot catches. But suddenly your shoelace turns against you and you trip over it. Time slows down. You trip, stumble, try to save yourself. In that moment, everything seems slow as you stumble and struggle to stay upright. But gravity wins. You fall over. Hard. You lose the battle with gravity and hit the ground really hard. The coffee? It lands upright. A miracle. Your phone? Not so lucky. Your coffee stays standing, which is amazing. Your phone, however, is out of luck. You hear the crack. You pick it up. The screen is shattered. Someone gasps behind you. Oh no, are you okay? You hear a sharp sound. You lift the phone and see the screen broken. Someone behind you is shocked. Someone exclaims, "Oh no, did you get hurt?" You could say, "Yeah, except my phone is over." Or maybe, "I just fell over my own feet. Great." You might reply, "Yeah, but my phone is ruined now." Or maybe, "I just tripped on my own feet. Wonderful." Ever had a moment like this, where you fall over and everything else falls apart too? Have you ever had an experience like that where you trip and then everything seems to go wrong? Your dog is sleeping peacefully. He looks too comfortable, too happy. Your dog is dozing, looking so calm and pleased. You nudge him. Time for a walk? You give him a little push. Ready to go for a walk? He groans, he stretches, he rolls over, pretending not to hear you. He makes a sleepy sound, stretches out, and moves around like he's ignoring you. Smart dog. He knows your patience is weak. He's a clever pup. He understands you won't wait long. You try again. Come on, let's go. You speak once more. Come on, let's move. He gives you side eye, then he rolls over again, facing the other way. He glances at you from the corner of his eye, then shifts his body and turns away. You sigh. Fine, you win. You let out a breath. All right, you got me. 2 minutes later, you are sitting on the couch. He jumps up, tail wagging. A couple of minutes pass and you're on the couch. He suddenly hops up, happily wagging his tail. Now he's ready. But you? Not so much. He's all set now, but you're not in the mood anymore. Ever had a moment where someone just rolls over your plans like that? Have you experienced a time when someone ignores your idea and does whatever he wants instead? The word over is everywhere. We use it without thinking, but where did it come from? This tiny word shows up in countless phrases. We say it automatically, but how did it begin? A long time ago, people needed a word for crossing things like bridges, rivers, obstacles. Long ago, people wanted a short term to describe crossing things such as bridges, rivers, or other barriers. They said ofer in Old English, meaning above or across. They used ofer in Old English, which meant above or across. Time passed. Over grew stronger. It started meaning finished, like a game, a job, a bad date. Over time, that word changed and began to mean done, describing a completed game, task, or even a bad meeting that ended. It became a warning. Game over. It's over. Get over it. It turned into a caution. Game is finished. It ended. Stop dwelling on it. It also became gentle. Come over. Think it over. Look over there. It found softer uses like come visit, reflect on it, check that spot. Now, we say it for everything. Falling over, rolling over, thinking things over. Today it appears in all sorts of expressions. Tumbling down, turning your body, considering ideas carefully. Crazy how one little word can do so much, huh? It's amazing how a simple word can carry so many meanings, right? Imagine this. You are at a party. You see someone carrying too many things. Picture a party scene. You notice a person with way too many items in his hands. You think, uh-oh, he's about to fall over. In your mind, you go, oh no, he's going to lose his balance any second. You could say, be careful, you might fall over. You might warn him, watch out, you could drop everything. Or later, did you see that? He fell over so hard. Or afterward that you might say, did you notice him? He hit the ground pretty hard. Or maybe even, I almost fell over laughing. Or perhaps, I nearly collapsed from laughter. Now think about your dog again. Now remember your dog once more. You wake up late, you don't want to move, you just roll over and ignore the alarm. You oversleep, feel too lazy to get up, and simply turn away from the alarm. You could say, just 5 more minutes. Or later tell a friend, I kept rolling over and now I'm late. You might murmur, give me a little more time. Or you could admit to a friend, I kept shifting around in bed and ended up being late. See? Over isn't just a word, it's a feeling, a moment, a tiny story waiting to happen. Notice how this term is more than just letters, it's an emotion, an instant in time, a small tale ready to be told. You ever find money in an old jacket? Feels great, right? Now imagine that feeling but 1,000 times bigger. Have you found money in an old coat before? That feels really good, right? Now imagine feeling that happy but a whole lot bigger. Lisa felt exactly that when she got her dream job. I'm over the moon, she told her mom, jumping around the room. That's how Lisa felt when she finally got her perfect job. I am so happy right now, she told her mom while hopping all around. But dreams can be tricky. A week in, she got her first 2 a.m. email from her boss. Need this report ASAP. But goals can cause trouble too. A week passed and she got her first late-night email from her boss. I need this report now. She groaned. I guess I'm not over the moon anymore. More like under a storm. She sighed. I think I'm not super happy anymore. It feels more like heavy rain on me. Ever felt excited about something and then reality hit you hard? When was the last time you were over the moon? Have you been thrilled and then life slapped you with problems? Can you remember the last time you felt super glad? You might say, I was over the moon when I passed my exam. Or she was over the moon after her first date. You could say, I felt so joyful when I passed my test. Or she was so delighted after her first date. Spilled coffee on someone's desk? Yeah, that's bad. Spilled it on their expensive keyboard? That's disaster level. Did you pour coffee on a coworker's table? That's a problem. But on their pricey keyboard? That's a huge mess. That's what happened to Jake. His coworker Mike stared at the mess, eyes dark. Seriously? This is exactly what Jake did. His colleague Mike looked at the spill with an unhappy stare. For real? I'll get you a new one, Jake promised, feeling his stomach twist. I will buy you a replacement, Jake said, feeling worry in his gut. The next morning, he walked in, bracing for war. Mike looked up and smiled. No worries, it'll blow over. The next day, he entered the office, expecting a fight. Mike glanced at him and grinned. It's all good. This will go away. Big problems feel huge in the moment, but most things pass. Can you think of a time when something just blew over? Serious issues seem giant at first, but many of them fade. Can you recall a time when a problem simply faded out? Someone might say, I was so mad, but after a day, it blew over. Or, don't worry, this fight will blow over. People might say, I was very angry, but the anger disappeared the next day. Or, don't stress, this argument will die down. Ever been too close to danger and not realized it? That's what happened to Tom on his hiking trip. Have you ever stood near danger without noticing? That is exactly what Tom faced while hiking. Careful, that cliff is steep, his friend Mark warned. Watch out, that spot is really high and dangerous, his pal Mark cautioned. Relax, Tom laughed. Then his foot slipped. A second later, he was falling. Almost. No worries, Tom chuckled. Then his shoe slid, and in a heartbeat, he almost went down. Mark grabbed his arm just in time. Still relaxed, he smirked. Tom just screamed. Mark caught his arm at the last second. You still calm? He teased. Tom only yelled. Sometimes we push things too far before we understand the risk. Have you ever been over the edge in any way? We often ignore our limits until we see the danger clearly. Have you ever gone past your limit in some situation? Someone might say, I was so stressed I felt like I was over the edge. Or, he pushed me over the edge with his jokes. Someone could say, I was super tense like I was about to snap. Or, he made me lose it with his jokes. You ever had that moment when someone asks you something crazy and you just know your answer is no way? Has anyone asked you a really odd favor and you felt right away you had to refuse? Your little brother walks in, spinning your car keys on his finger. Let me take it for a spin, he grins. Your younger sibling strolls in, twirling your keys. He says with a smile, I want to drive your car. You cross your arms, over my dead body. You fold your arms and say, that will never happen while I'm still breathing. He smirks, tossing the keys in the air. You really should stop leaving these on the counter. He gives a sly grin and flips the keys, saying, you know, you shouldn't leave them lying around. Your stomach drops. That was your spare set. Your heart sinks. Those keys were your backup set. Now he's already at the door, and you know, this is not going to end well. He's heading out right away, and you realize this won't turn out nicely. Ever lost something important? Like really important? Have you ever misplaced something so vital you felt anxious right away? You spend hours writing an email, not just any email, the one that decides your future. You invest a lot of time crafting a message, not an ordinary one, the big one that could change everything. You check everything, perfect grammar, no typos, deep breath. Then, your screen goes black. You review every detail, everything looks correct. Then you take a moment to stay calm. Suddenly, your monitor switches off. Your heart stops. Your soul leaves your body. Your computer crashed. You freeze in shock. You feel empty inside. Your laptop failed you. Guess I have to start over, you whisper as your will to live fades into the void. I guess I need a fresh start, you mumble, feeling your hope slip away. Imagine this. You're on a ship. Dark sky, angry sea. The wind is screaming and the rain feels like needles. Picture yourself on a boat at night. The clouds are raging, the wind howls, and the rain stings. Your hands shake as you adjust the radio. Static. Then, someone speaks. Turn back now. Your fingers tremble when you tune the radio. It crackles, then a voice comes through. Go back right away. Your breath catches. Who is this? You ask. You gasp. Who's talking? You say. Silence. Then the last words before the radio goes dead. Over and out. Quiet follows. Then you hear a final phrase. Done speaking. Your stomach twists. Who was that? And more importantly, why did they sound so sure? You feel a knot in your gut. Who gave that warning, and why did he sound so certain? The word over is everywhere. It can mean finished, above, too much, or even refusing something completely. That term appears all the time. It might mean done, higher, excessive, or outright saying no. Over my dead body means never happening, a hard no. Not in my lifetime is like saying it will never occur. It's a firm refusal. Start over is about fresh beginnings, even when it's painful. Begin again is for new starts, though it may hurt. Over and out comes from radio talk. It means, I'm done speaking, no more words. That's it, I'm finished, is a phrase from radio usage. It signals no more talking. Life is full of over moments, some good, some bad. Some you wish never happened. Life has many finished moments. Some are wonderful, some are terrible. Some you'd rather forget. So tell me, what's an over moment you've had? So share a time you felt something ended or reached its limit. You hold grudges, small ones, tiny ones, but they last forever. You remember bad things people do. Even if they seem small, you keep feeling upset for a very long time. Your best friend? He ate the last slice of pizza 10 years ago. Think about your closest buddy. He took that final piece of pizza a decade ago, and you still cannot forget it. Every time you eat together, you say, "Remember that time?" Whenever you two share a meal, you bring up that moment. "Hey, recall what happened." "Oh my gosh, get over it," he groans. He complains, "Oh wow, just let it go already." But you smile, some betrayals never fade. You grin instead. Certain hurts stay with you and never really disappear. Maybe get over it sounds harsh, but it means move on, forget it. This phrase can feel rude, but it is telling you to leave the past behind and not dwell on it. Have you ever heard this? Maybe someone told you? Has anyone ever said these words to you? Possibly a person tried to give you this advice? You could say, "I cannot believe she canceled last minute." And your friend might reply, "Dude, get over it." Imagine you say, "I cannot believe she quit right before we started." And your friend answers, "Hey, let it go." It is not always about pizza. Maybe you lost a game. Maybe you missed a bus. It is not always about food. Perhaps you were defeated in a match or did not catch your ride. But sometimes moving on is hard, and sometimes you do not want to. Yet letting go can be tough, and at times you simply refuse to do it. Your boss calls you into her office. Big smile, big news. Your manager invites you into her room. She beams and has something important to say. "I am offering you a promotion," she says. "More money, more responsibility, twice the workload." She tells you, "I want to give you a higher role with extra pay, bigger duties, and double the tasks." You nod. "I will think it over." You give a quick nod. "I will consider it carefully." Later, lying in bed, you stare at the ceiling. Later on, you are in your bed, gazing up at the ceiling. Do you really want this job? Or was "think it over" just an excuse? Do you honestly desire this position? Or was "I will think about it" merely a way to delay? When people say "I will think it over," do they really think? Or do they just avoid saying no? When someone says "I will think about it," is he or she truly reflecting or just unable to say no? Your friend asks, "Want to go skydiving?" You say, "I will think it over." A buddy says, "How about jumping from a plane?" And you respond, "I will give it some thought." But deep down, you know the answer is no. But in your heart, you realize the answer is no. Have you ever said "I will think it over" when you already knew the answer? Have you ever told someone, "I will think about it," while you were already sure of your decision? Thinking is good, but sometimes thinking too much means doing nothing. It is wise to reflect, but spending too long can result in no action at all. You are in a bank waiting in line. Normal day, then chaos. Imagine standing in a bank queue on an ordinary day and suddenly everything goes crazy. A masked man storms in. "Hand over the money," he shouts. A man in a mask rushes inside and yells, "Give me all the cash right now." The teller sighs, opens the register, hands him a single-dollar bill. The bank employee exhales, unlocks the drawer, and gives him just $1. "That all you got?" the robber asks. He looks surprised and says, Is that everything you have? Dude, it is a cashless bank now. She shrugs. She shrugs and says, Sir, we do not really keep money here anymore. Hand over sounds aggressive, but it just means give something, usually when you do not want to. The phrase hand over seems strong, but it really means giving something up when you might not wish to. Your mom says, hand over your phone. Bad sign. If your mother says, give me your phone, it usually spells trouble. Your friend holds your keys, you reach for them. He grins. Hand them over. Your buddy is holding your keys, and as you stretch out your hand, he smiles and says, pass them here. Sometimes handing over feels unfair. Sometimes it is funny. Sometimes it is the law. In certain cases, giving something up feels wrong, while in others it can be amusing, and sometimes it is just required. Ever had to hand over something you did not want to? Have you ever had to give someone something you really wish to keep? Sometimes things are just over the top. Too much, too extra. You know the feeling? Sometimes people go way beyond normal. They make things huge and intense. You can sense when it's a lot, right? You walk into a burger place, you just want a simple burger. Nothing crazy. Picture yourself stepping into a small diner. You only crave a plain burger, nothing fancy at all. The waiter nods, writes it down, and disappears. The server agrees, jots your order, and slips away. A few minutes later, your burger arrives, but what is this? After a short wait, your food shows up. But this is surprising. 5 patties, 6 slices of cheese, an entire onion, a flag on top. It has many layers of meat, a lot of cheese, a whole onion, and even a tiny banner on top. You stare at it. A bit over the top, don't you think? You look at it with wide eyes. Kind of extreme, right? The waiter winks. Just how we do it here. The server gives a playful look. That's simply our style. You try to take a bite. Your jaw does not open that wide. You attempt to eat, but your mouth can't stretch that far. Ever seen a cake covered in gold flakes? A car with a chandelier inside? Have you ever found a fancy cake with shining bits on it? Or a vehicle decorated with a hanging light fixture? That's over the top, too. That is another example of going far beyond simple. Your friend buys a diamond-covered phone case. Just in case I drop it, he says. Your buddy purchases a phone cover with sparkly jewels. So it's protected if I drop it, he explains. You shake your head. That's so over the top, man. You move your head in disbelief. That's way too fancy, friend. He grins. Better safe than sorry. He smiles. I'd rather be protected than regretful. What about people? Some folks act over the top too dramatic. And how about individuals? Some behave in an exaggerated way, very emotional. Your coworker gets a small paper cut. He gasps, holds his hand. I think I need a doctor. You see a colleague with a tiny cut from paper? He panics, grabs his hand. I might need medical help. You roll your eyes. Dude, it's just a paper cut. You give him a look. Hey, it's only a minor scratch. He groans. You don't get it. This is serious. He complains. You have no idea. This is a big deal. Where have you seen something over the top? Clothes, food, people? Where have you noticed things that go beyond normal? Outfits, meals, individuals? Some people talk too much, and when they do, they might run over the topic again and again. There are people who speak endlessly. They might repeat the subject many times. Your friend has a new business idea. A brilliant one, he says. Your pal comes up with a fresh plan for work. He claims it's amazing. You listen, you nod, you smile. You pay attention, agree with small motions, and grin. He keeps talking, and talking, and talking. He continues chatting, and chatting, and chatting. Let me just run over the details one more time, he says. Let me quickly go through the points again, he suggests. You think about running away instead. Ever been in a meeting like this? You imagine escaping the conversation. Have you ever sat in a discussion that never ends? Your boss repeats the same thing 5 times. Just to be clear, your manager says the exact sentence again and again. I just want to make sure. You glance at the clock. Time is running over too. Or maybe you are learning a new language. You look at your watch. The minutes are ticking away fast. Or possibly you're studying a different tongue. You read a word. Again and again. You see a term. You check it. You check it again. You think, maybe if I run over it a few more times, I'll remember. And sometimes it works. You say to yourself, maybe if I repeat it several times, I'll keep it in mind. And often that actually helps. People run over things because they care, or they worry, or they just like to talk. Folks go through topics repeatedly because they are concerned, afraid, or simply love to speak. When was the last time someone ran over something too much with you? Think about when somebody covered a subject with you too many times. Sometimes turning over a page changes everything. You find an old book in a used bookstore. Occasionally, flipping to a new sheet can change your whole situation. Imagine you discover an ancient novel in a second-hand shop. Something sticks out from the pages. A note. You turn it over. There's a small paper peeking out from inside. You flip it around. It says, "Meet me where the oak tree stands." It reads, "Go to the big tree outside and see me there." You glance outside. There's an oak tree. What do? You look past the window and spot an old tree. How will you respond? Turning something over can reveal secrets. You flip a coin. Heads or tails? Changing the side of something can uncover hidden things. You toss a coin. Which side appears? You turn over a test. Did you pass? You look at your exam paper. Did you succeed? You turn over a new leaf. A fresh start. You begin again. A clean beginning. Your friend quits his job. Time to turn over a new page, he says. Your buddy leaves work. Now I'll start a new path, he explains. You nod. Good for you. You agree. That's great. Life is full of things to turn over. Pages, choices, coins. What would you turn over today? Your life has many things you can flip or change. Sheets of paper? Options. Money pieces. Which one will you change today?